So what are the 5 biggest mistakes that I see first-time homebuyers making when starting the home buying process? In this video, I'm going to share with you the things that I see as a loan officer when I'm getting them pre-qualified and pre-approved, and also what I hear from my real estate agent partners when they're out with their clients, showing them homes and getting them prepped and ready for the offer. So number 1 is homebuyers who get pre-qualified versus pre-approved. So as a licensed loan officer, I can tell you there's a huge difference from a pre-qualification to a pre-approval. First off, a pre-qualification is simply based on a conversation. So if you were to buy a house or start the process of buying a house and you were to give me a call as a loan officer and you were gonna tell me, hey, I have X amount of years of history, of work history, I make X amount per month, this is how much I have in the bank, and this is what my wife makes, this is what her history looks like, and we don't have a whole lot of debt. As a loan officer, I'm gonna say, it sounds like you might be able to be qualified for a mortgage. You don't have a whole lot of debt, you have work history, and you have credit that's above maybe 700, whatever you say, I'm gonna tell you, that sounds like you would qualify. That's a pre-qualification versus a pre-approval. A pre-approval is gonna be much stronger for the real estate agent that you're working with, as well as the seller of the home when they're considering a buyer of their home. So when you go get pre-approved, you are speaking with a loan officer like myself, and you're actually filling out a loan application. You're applying for a loan. And in that application, as a loan officer, what we're gonna do, we're gonna ask you for some very specific documents to ensure that the income that you are making and the employment that you have is qualifying you for the loan that we're gonna give you. So as a loan officer, we have very strict standards that are set by Fannie and Freddie Mac. These are purchasers of the loans that we originate. We need to make sure that once we originate a loan, that you as the borrower are qualified so that the loan closes so we can sell it to Fannie and Freddie Mac organizations who then package these loans up and sell them on the secondary market and trade them on the stock market. So huge difference when you're just getting pre-qualified versus pre-approved. The mistake that I see, number 1, is buyers who are excited, they just get pre-qualified, a quick phone call, and they start looking on Zillow and start shopping for homes with the real estate agent and making offers when they have no idea if they're actually approved for that amount of the home. So number 1, go get yourself pre-approved with a loan officer before you start making offers on home. Number 2, not preparing for the mortgage process. There is a lot that goes into the mortgage process, and a pre-qualification versus a pre-approval is a very big difference, and you're gonna need to prepare your mind for the things that the loan officers are gonna be asking you, because most people just don't get that information for themselves even on a regular basis. And when a loan officer starts to look through your application, starts to validate your file, they're going to want to see all of your past history of work, of income, and bank statements to make sure that you have the funds, you're making the funds, and your work history is stable. And depending on the type of income you're making, let's say you're W-2 or you're self-employed, maybe you have a corporation, maybe you have rental income, whatever it may be. Well, as a first-time homebuyer, you probably won't have rental income, but depending on your scenario, that's going to dictate the types of documentation that we're going to need to collect to ensure that you're going to be pre-approved. So just prepare yourself and don't get stressed out, because it could be a stressful process if you're not too savvy with the computer, getting all these documents from your bank, going online, downloading your pay stubs or your W-2s, just finding all that stuff. You want to make sure that you're prepared mentally when you go into this process, because it could be stressful if you don't have all these documents handy and you have a busy life. You're probably working, you probably have kids, you probably are just doing things, and when you go out and start the process of buying a house, you're going to have to provide all those documentations. And like I said, adding another task to your day can be grueling, but you're just gonna have to realize that's just the process of buying a home. So make sure you prepare yourself and you ask a lot of questions up front to the loan officer about what you're gonna need, before you start the process so that you don't get too overwhelmed and stressed out during the process. Third mistake I see and hear quite often from my real estate agent partners is the conditions. So conditions on a purchase and sale agreement are meant to protect you as the buyer. So when you're making an offer on a house, you have the ability to omit certain conditions in the agreement to make your offer stronger. For example, there is a clause in there that says, basically if your financing falls through, let's say you get pre-approved and for whatever reason, you get to the end and your financing falls through, there's a clause in there that says if your financing falls through, the seller gets to keep your deposit. A lot of times real estate agents will take that out and say, hey, look, we have a strong borrower, we're gonna take that out. That way you have your deposit, for you in case anything was to happen to my borrower. We're so confident that we're gonna take that out. But sometimes there are loan officers who just don't do their job well, or there's things that happen in life, or maybe we missed something, maybe you didn't tell us something. If that clause is not in there, you could lose potentially tens of thousands of dollars. I've seen deposits as high as $50,000 where the seller of the home was like, hey, there's a clause in the agreement that states if the financing falls through or if you even back out, you are going to be liable for that deposit, meaning I'm going to be able to keep that deposit and you can't say anything because you signed a contract. So make sure that you're fully aware of conditions of the agreement and you're very clear with your real estate agent about what you want to be kept in and what you want to leave out so that you have no surprises when it comes to the closing of your loan. The fourth mistake I see is not budgeting for closing costs. So many home buyers, first of all, think that they need 20% down. That's totally wrong. You don't need 20% down. That's just going to eliminate your mortgage insurance. The minimum down payment is typically 3% or 3.5% to get yourself into a conventional or FHA loan. That's just the down payment. But what you have to factor in as well is the closing costs. So closing costs are comprised of the lender fee, whoever you're working with, all the third-party fees like the state taxes, title and escrow, just all the third-party fees, everything that goes into the loan. There's a lot of people that are gonna be touching your loan, so they all have to get paid out. So those are all third-party fees that you take on as a purchaser of a home and when you're getting a mortgage. And then on top of that, you have your prepaid items, your prepaid taxes and insurance. So as lenders, we need to collect taxes and insurance up front and place into your escrow account so that when taxes and insurance are due, your taxes and insurance are paid from that escrow account. What most first-time homebuyers don't realize is that their closing costs and their prepaid items are bunched together, and it basically just makes a bigger amount of closing costs that you need to provide at the end of the transaction. Because if you have your 3.5% or your 3% or whatever your down payment is putting, you don't necessarily anticipate another $5,000 to $12,000 of costs on your loan. But that's the reality of getting a mortgage. You have to pay those closing costs, that's one thing, and then you have to pay your prepaid items. You're basically just paying yourself, but you have to have the funds available so that we can put those in your escrow account so that the state gets their taxes. So don't overlook those. They're very important when it comes to purchasing a mortgage. You have to have those funds, and that's what we as lenders are looking at when you're getting pre-approved, is making sure that you actually have the funds necessary for the down payment, the closing costs, and the prepaid items. And mistake number 5 that I see is using all of your savings for your down payment and your closing costs. I'm a firm believer in living debt-free and having an emergency fund. I actually did a video up here about how to budget, and I think budgeting your life is extremely important, and having just the knowledge and the clear sense that if something was to happen to me, if I was to lose my job or I was to get injured, I will be okay. And if you're gonna go into a mortgage and you spend your life savings on the down payment and your closing costs, and you have nothing left over, and let's say you got yourself into way big of a mortgage and you can't afford the payment every month, maybe you're house poor as they say, That's not a good situation that you want for your life. You want to make sure that you have at least 3 months of expenses stashed away in the bank, even after you put your down payment and your closing costs. I believe if you have some funds left over in your bank account, you are going to be a happy camper at the end of the night, because you're going to sleep well knowing that if something was to happen, God forbid, you can live your life as usual for the next 3 months. If you have a family, I say have at least 6 to 12 months of expenses in the bank, and anything beyond that, that's just cheddar you're putting away in investments or wherever into anything fun that you're excited about in life. So those are the biggest mistakes that I see as first-time home buyers when they're going out and starting to make offers on homes, or just start looking at homes even. Those are the most important things that I think you should all think about when you're making the decision to start looking at homes, and just realize that we loan officers and real estate agents, they are here to help you. They are paid by obviously the loan closing and more loans coming in. So if we do a good job, we hopefully will get a referral from you, or maybe we'll do a refinance with you down the line. We need to make sure that you as the borrower are going to be happy from the start to finish. And that means, setting you up for success, letting you know what a pre-qualification is versus a pre-approval, letting you know what the cost of the loan is going to be, what are the down payment requirements, what are the closing cost requirements, what are all the costs associated with it, and what goes into the actual process. So if you take those into account while you're going out and start shopping for homes, I think you're going to have a much better experience. And I really hope that whatever lender that you choose, they're honest and open with you, and vice versa. As a loan officer, I expect my clients to be open and honest with me, because at the end of the day, if you hide something from us and we find out about it down the line, let's say you're under contract in our home and it kicks you out of qualification, that's just gonna hurt you and waste a lot of time in the end. So just make sure when you're going through the steps of buying a home, be honest and open. Let us know what you are fearful of. We'll put you at ease. We help people every day get into mortgages and get into homes. A mortgage is what allows you to get into homes. So that's our job. We want to make sure that you are happy at the end of it. And if we do our job well, we're probably going to see that come back tenfold to us with future business from you or referrals from your friends and family. So hope this was helpful. If you had some groundbreaking knowledge, if you found some use in this video, definitely give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you like this content, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks guys, take care.